Good morning, everybody. My name is Rima and I am a senior here at Kentwood High School. Now, it's really difficult for me to think of any theme to go with 4 years because really it's just very dynamic. I think the only thing that we could do is the tried and true roller coaster. But that's not what I did. As a drama kid, I looked at it as kind of like a show. We've got an opening night, we've got a rehearsal, we've got Hell Week, and it kind of all goes together in that way. So, what would any show be without a little cast biography? Just a little bit about myself. I've been pretty involved here in the last 4 years. I've done multiple clubs, and I've really tried to branch out and do as much as I could while I was here because I know that Kentwood is a big school and there's a lot to offer. I like FC Barcelona, I play violin, I listen to Bollywood, and I eat cheese and drink tea. I'm an honorable, dependable friend, a really very loving daughter, trying to make my parents proud, and a wonderful speller. Now, it'd be really hard for me to start off talking about high school without kind of talking about 8th grade. For me, that was a turning point right before high school. My parents were divorced when I was really, really young, and I spent about almost 10 years splitting my time half and half between both parents. It wasn't until 8th grade that I finally got the strength to realize that one parent was healthier than the other and left on my own as a little 12-year-old kid. And it was really difficult for me to decide that. Obviously, you love both of your parents, but you have to make that conscious decision for yourself to move out of a negative environment into a positive one. So for me, all of freshman year and the summer before was kind of lent itself to a new beginning because I had already made that change. So we will first talk about freshman year. It's an audition, and that's the best way I can describe it. Like I said, with that whole experience that happened to me after 8th grade over the summer, I was really looking for a fresh start and looking to branch out and try new things. So when I came here, as I said before, I was really looking to do as much as I could. I know that sounds kind of lame, like why would you just do whatever, but really I was just interested in trying to take advantage of all the opportunities I had here because I knew there was a lot. When you're a kid, you hear all about Kentwood and how much there is, and the sports, obviously, the activities, the classes, the teachers, so I tried my best to become involved and just see what was out there. I really didn't have a concept of a comfort zone. At least I didn't think I did. We'll talk about that later. As far as important classes for me, I think French was the most important in terms of motivating myself and seeking knowledge for myself. I loved the language and I loved the culture, but I did not at all like how the class was taught. It was disorganized. I never knew what the homework was. There was no organization at all. We never knew what was going on half the time. We'd have a test, we were like, what, there's a test? So for me, it was really important to seek out my knowledge on my own. I wasn't any longer being fed knowledge from people. I didn't have to sit there and just listen. It was more important for me to spend the time listening, but also go outside of class and research things and go deeper and figure stuff out for myself. So that was really important as a freshman because really as a 14 and 15-year-old, you don't know yet how to do that on your own. You're not as independent, you're not as responsible maybe for yourself. So that was a big point where I started to become more responsible for myself. Orchestra as well was really important to me because I had a chance to be a leader in that way. I was a violinist in the first chair, so I did the best I could to kind of foster camaraderie among all of my violinists. We had brownie nights where we'd get together, just the violinists, to hang out, bond, and I think it made our orchestra better as a whole. It was really nice to get to know the people in your orchestra because typically, and my past experiences before this were just that you would sit down and you'd play next to these people for several years and you would barely know their name. So I think I made a little bit of an impact on my orchestra that way, and that kind of tradition still continues today. So sophomore year is a callback. In every way possible, a callback is nerve-wracking. You really don't know what's happening. You think they like you think you're on the right track, but you're not really sure because you don't see any of the fruits of your labor yet. You're still kind of in the grunt of things. So I continued all those activities that I started freshman year. I remained diligent as best I could and tried to keep my head down and keep myself working, but it was really difficult for me to do that when I didn't see any payoff coming. So I did get some degree of complacency. I did get tired. I did feel like, why am I doing any of this? Why am I running myself so hard? Why am I here every day till late hours of the evening working for ASB when I don't see anything coming of it? I realized that that's an immature thing to think because you don't always see the direct effects of what you're doing. And I didn't realize that till much later. Miss Mackey is someone who I would definitely like to cite, not just for AP Chemistry, but she's also my advisor. AP Chems, a class, was very difficult. It was the first time I ever had to study. I know that sounds weird, but there's times in your life where you have to just kind of pay attention, and like French, it was one of those moments where I had to actually sit down, teach myself the material, so that was a new experience. Miss Mackey, again, as an advisor, was hard on me, and in a good way. She pushed me, she wanted to see the best come out of me. She wouldn't accept me just sitting back. So that was a driving force with me, and I'm really thankful to her. Junior year. We drama kids affectionately call junior year and the week before a show, Hell Week, because it's kind of hellish. You're busy, you're involved, you're stretched a little bit too thin, but you're really, really happy if you're doing what you want to do. So this was the year that I kind of let go of all the things that I thought I had to do and decided that I wanted to do exactly what I wanted to do and nothing else. And that was a huge moment for me because you spend most of your young life just doing what is expected of you, but I had a chance to kind of spend my time doing what I actually wanted to do. I started to realize the value of the time I had in high school, and I didn't want to spread it between many, many activities anymore. The other thing about Hell Week and the other thing about junior year for me is that you bond most closely with your friends and the people you're around during that time. Because you're all busy, you're all kind of in the same boat of, wow, we're kind of drowning here. You kind of need each other, you kind of need to lean on each other. So there was a lot of group work, a lot of bonding that happened during this year that also happens in a show. Calculus, that seems like a really weird class to cite for group work, but actually a couple friends of mine and I got together and created a study group. And that's not something I had done before. I never thought that I'd be able to study in a group. But it turns out that we needed it, and we liked it, and we all ended up doing well. So we had a chance to lean on each other. There were days some of us would come home with D's, and the others with A's. We'd help each other out and pull everyone to an A. Leadership class as well. Another thing, an example of group work. Another example of getting that dynamic and learning to lean on one another. It's very difficult for me to give any type of control to someone else, because I know that I can take stuff on myself, but you can't always do that. So for leadership, I had the chance to really, I guess, let go of some, I don't want to say prejudice, but it's more just like the stigma in your mind that you have to do everything yourself. It's okay to accept help, and it actually makes everything better. Senior year, it's an opening night, and also a closing night, depending on what part of the year you're in. It's kind of the time when you get to show others what you've done. You work, and you kind of have a chance to step back for a moment. Even though you're kind of in the thick of it, and moving and running and doing shows and on the stage, you do have a chance to appreciate yourself at curtain call. So for AP Euro, actually, the class I'm in right now, I had the ability to, really, it's not anything that I learned specifically, it's more an exercise of what I learned. I decided that I wanted to choose the activities that I wanted during junior year instead of taking classes or doing activities that I just thought would be good on a transcript. So Euro for me was that happy class. I was like, I really love Jones. Let me try to take some time, be with Jones for a bit of the day. Do history, which is something that I never had time to do, really, to any great extent. So that was enjoyable for me. Also, Mr. Jones is extremely inspirational as a person because he does, like Ree said earlier, he treats you like an adult, like a true person. He looks you in the eye and speaks to you like he expects something of you. And there's no better thing than having a teacher expect something of you. Because you will truly become exactly what they expect. For marketing, I can't say enough how impactful Mr. Zender has been in my life and in the last 4 years. I've done DECA with him, and that's something I started last year. And I didn't go into it knowing at all what it was, but because of him, I did it because I knew how wonderful a person he was. But Zender expects excellence, and he expects responsibility, and he's also very straightforward and gentle in a way because he wants you to excel, and he expects things of you. Again, another teacher who really, by just expecting something of you, they show you that they care about you and that they want you to do well. We worked, again, in groups in marketing, learned a lot about patience and creativity, and I also got to see that as a leader, I was being followed more because I was handling myself in a gentler way than other people perhaps were. I found that people were more willing to treat you well, work with you if you are kind to them. So that was a really nice experience because you realize that you don't necessarily have to lead with force. You can be kind of just a guiding force. Okay, so reviews of the last 4 years. I'm glad I did so many disparate and weird activities, but I definitely did not enjoy each one, but I'm definitely glad I did them because I did take advantage of almost whatever I could, whatever I had time for, and I gave myself that opportunity to learn about myself. You don't really get to grow or anything unless you just jump into the deep end, and that's what I did, so I'm glad I did that. I never compromised my sense of self to suit the whims of another. I'm proud of that because I know that high school is a time of immense change, and I did change, but I don't think I ever lost the truest parts of myself. I also adopted more of a go-with-the-flow attitude. I know that seems really weird, but I used to probably have stigmas or worries about what I would do, what I would become, and now I am just confident in the fact that things will work out okay. Every adult I know none of them are doing what they thought they'd do, and all of them are happier than they thought they'd be, so I'm just trying to sit back and kind of see where life takes me. Future goals and plans. I'm entirely uncertain. I have no idea what I'm going to do. I've studied or thought about studying so many different things. Foreign language, engineering. None of them go together. But that's okay for me because I know that it's going to be enjoyable whatever I end up doing. So I will attend university in the fall. I'm not yet sure where. Waiting on those letters. But I hope to study, work, and live abroad. I like foreign language. I like foreign culture. I love people. So I think it would be a good experience. I also love travel, and I've had an opportunity to do that, so I know that that's something I like. I sometimes legitimately consider printing out a bunch of logos of things I could do, putting them on a dartboard and throwing them and seeing where they land, and just doing that first. I don't really want to do the same thing every day for the rest of my life, so I probably will switch around, or I hope to switch around and try many new things. And yes, I'm just very excited to see what things bring because I'm no longer worried. I think that's the best thing that's come out of these next 4 years. I'm no longer tense about these things. I'm just excited. So thank you very much. Really? Okay, well, that's the end.